Hey guys, this is your CA Dhananjay. In this video, we're going to discuss our May 2020 CA Inter and CA Final preparation plan. I have divided my short video into 6 important areas. First is that we have 75 days and we need to cover 8 papers. Now, if you roughly divide 75 by 8, you get about 9 to 10 days per subject. Now the question is, are we going to complete one full subject in just 9 to 10 days? Even I know it's difficult, but I also know that there are a few subjects where you don't even need 9 to 10 days. So it's gonna balance out. Some subjects you may take 13-14 days and some subjects you may finish in 7 to 8 days. So let us first have a broad plan that we need to, on an average, take about 9 to 10 days per subject. One subject may be little more than 10, the other subject may be little less than 9 also. On an average, we should keep a target of completing a subject in 9 to 10 days. How are we going to study? Never study 2 practical papers together or 2 theory papers together. The mistake that all our intermediate students specifically do is that they start with group 1, accounting first, costing next, tax and so on. Finally, they'll be left with EIS, economics, audit, law, all theory papers, and they start losing interest on their revision. So how do I overcome this? The only way to overcome this is I should mix a practical paper along with a theory paper. Whenever I'm fully charged, let's do a theory paper, and when I'm not feeling so energetic, let's take up practical subjects. The mistake we do is when we are fully charged, we do practical paper. Come on, we're already fully charged. We don't need a practical problem to keep up our energy level. When we are charged, let's use it for a paper which is a little boring, the theory paper. And then when I'm feeling a little sleepy, let me use a practical paper to energize myself. And then if you have decided to write both the groups, never study group 1 papers together. I said a practical paper and a theory paper together, but don't do the mistake of doing accounting and law because both are in single group. When you do this, unknowingly you tend to give more weightage to that group and you'll be left with very less days at the end for the other group. So how do I balance my both groups? Take one practical paper from group 1, take one theory from group 2, combine this and learn. You should never segregate 8 papers into group 1 and group 2. Segregate them into practical and theory. Whichever group it falls, not a problem. Ensure you mix and learn. But also don't try to do more than 2 papers in a day. So what happens? When I said you take about 10 days per paper, when you mix one subject of group 1 and one subject of group 2, then you will have 10 plus 10, about 20 days in total. Now when you have 20 days in total, out of which one is a practical paper and another is a theory paper, you may take 7 to 8 days here, which you can use it here conveniently 12 or 13 days to complete the practical paper. That's why I said block of 2 subjects. What is the meaning of block of 2 subjects? Paper 1, paper 2 together about 15 to 20 days, paper 2, paper 3 together about 15 to 20 days, paper 4 and 5, paper 6 and 7 and so on. Never study one subject at a time, always make it a block of 2. What is the problem if I do 5 papers, 4 papers in a day? I'll not be able to concentrate. Specifically, some of the practical chapters, if you start and then if you keep breaking it into just 3 hours in a day and stretch it for 6 to 8 days, that's not the right way of preparation. The better way is to take up the topic and finish within 1.5 to 2 days. That's why I would suggest you restrict to just 2 subjects on a particular day. My next point is quick revision in between. What is this in between? When I take subject 1 and 2, I go to subject 3 and 4 later, 5 and 6 later. My problem is when I'm in paper 5 and 6, I don't even remember the name of paper 1 and 2, let alone the subjects, let alone the content, let alone the details. I don't even remember the name of the subject. So what should I do? Do subject 1 and 2, then go to 3 and 4. Before you start paper 5, take 1 day pause and revise 1 and 2 quickly. Don't spend too much of time. I repeat, you do paper 1 and 2, then go to paper 3, 4. Before you start 5 and 6, revise 1 and 2. and then take up 5 and 6. Before you start 7 and 8, revise 3 and 4. So by doing this, what will happen? I'll study a block, study the next block, I'll revise the first block, then again study one more block, revise the previous block, and so on. So I'm always connected to the subject. Otherwise, in the second week of April, when I open my first paper, it will be as good as the first round of study. And if you want to avoid that, the only way is to do a quick revision. And most important, which I keep repeating in my class also, is you cannot complete entire 100% of your syllabus. Even if you do 80% of the syllabus, that's more than enough. What do I mean by that? I'm not saying never study 100%. I'm only saying when you do your first round of study, which I said about 8 to 9 or 9 to 10 days, don't drag till you complete 100%. If you do that, then it may so happen that you'll end up taking 13, 14, 15 and 18 days for one subject, and that will eat up your time of some other subject in the month of April. So what to do? Complete 80% of the subject, go to next subject, go to next subject. By April 10th or 15th, if you are done with 80% of all 8 papers, in the balance days, complete another 10%, 10%, 10% of all 8, and then also if you have time, then do the balance 10%. Why I am saying this is, your question paper is not for 100 marks. Your question paper is for 116 or 120 marks. So you always have an option to leave one question. So instead of trying to study 100% of one subject and doing 60% of another subject, why don't we do 80% of both the subjects? Even in examination, we are not going to answer 116, we are going to answer only 100. And if time doesn't permit, sometimes I may not even write full 100 marks, I may end up writing just 85 or 90. So when I'm going to write 85 or 90 out of 116, what is the need of studying 116? So therefore, let's not give over importance to an individual paper, and in a hurry to do 100% of that paper, let's not eat up our time of another paper. And that another paper is always a theory paper, and that another paper is always a group 2 paper. If you have observed the entire syllabus, group 2 is much less time consuming for revision than group 1. But what our students do? They start with group 1, they start with practical papers, accounts and costing, they take one full month and do 100% of these two, and they'll have very less time later for group 2 papers. And group 2 papers are, believe me, much easier, much quicker for revision purpose. So let's not worry about 100% completion. Even if we are done with 80-85%, we are good to go for second paper. And remember, subjects like income tax, you can never complete 100%. You know how big the syllabus is. Even those who have cleared CA final, even they have not covered their 100%. So why are we worried about it? Cover the 80%, go to next paper. If you have extra time, cover 10%. Then also if you have time, then do the balance 10%. Otherwise 90% preparation is more than enough, as we have one choice to leave in examination. Out of 116, let's leave 16 marks, whichever we have not studied, balance 100 anyway we have studied, and confidently we can attend. So my suggestions are these, and I wish you all the very best. Use your time very well. Next 75 days, let us prioritize only and only our intermediate and final studies. All the best, guys. Thank you.